This is a Socialist News and Views special interview.
I'm Nick Schillingford, coming to you from the Urban Cabin Studios in South Minneapolis with this special interview.
Let's do it.
Should we jump in? So on Socialist News and Views, we let folks introduce themselves. Do you both just want to tell our audience who you are?
Go ahead, Jane.
Okay, Jane Kirby. I'm been a home birth midwife for about 30 years. I'm mostly retired now, and I currently work part-time for the Sisters of St. Joseph of Carondelet, and I'm a mother and been an activist my whole life. When I first had kids, it was welfare rights, prisoner rights, and housing, and lately I've been into the food access, We Feed Us. I'll leave it there. You go ahead.
I'm Steve Young. I am what America made me. I was a good Eagle Scout boy. Ended up joining the Marine Corps for a number of years, unfortunately. Then I went to law school, got all woke. I studied and taught actually briefly international law, focusing on like what's called public international law, which is like state relations and treaties and that sort of thing. And I wrote papers and published a few things about that. And oddly enough, investor state disputes where big companies sue countries for not letting them sell cigarettes, that sort of thing. But then I just got a humdrum job with a relatively small law firm doing um, r regular small mid-sized business nonsense for tech startups. And at some point in there, I also bought a neighborhood market and tried to run it for a while, but neighborhood markets being what they are, it drove me into bankruptcy. But we kept it going for a long time and I paid my people right. And I still talk to them regularly. They're great. And then in December of 2025, two fathers of kids who go to my kids' school were taken by ICE. And it was on the day of a PTA meeting, and our PTA president came in hot. And because their families had spent the day with him because they had nowhere else to go. And then I was immediately, I mean, I'd been seeing what was happening around the country with ICE. I had friends in Chicago. You remember that helicopter raid
Yep.
into that apartment building?
Oh, yeah.
It turns out it was just because the landlord wanted to unload a bunch of tenants.
Yep.
Anyway.
No, very serious stuff, and it's gotten buried under all the mountain,
right?
All the other BS that this current fascist government is.
Right.
And I think I think we can definitely call it that at this point.
Oh, absolutely. So anyway, when it came here, I later that week remember early on it was like there was a north side chat and a south side chat. Like that was about it, like on Signal and everything. And literally that weekend was the first time I went to an apartment building and freezing my ass off because ICE had gotten inside and we were there to make sure they didn't leave with anybody, and they didn't, luckily. But after that, I emailed my firm and said, "Hey, I'm out. There's more important stuff going on." And then spent the winter on the streets, breathing in tear gas and screaming at cops and everything. And yeah.
And that made you want to run for office because
more or less.
Which is what we're gonna get into next. I would just
sure.
I was just gonna say I was gonna kind of start off, like a little sharp here, like Steve Grumbine, who's been on this podcast before. He's a modern monetary theory guy. He has the he has the Macro and Cheese podcast. He says he's been saying a lot lately. He keeps posting these things. We're just cosplaying democracy, and this is really an oligarchy. What do you say to something like that, and what made you want to do this What made you want to do this thankless job of running a campaign outside of the two main, hugely well-funded billionaire parties?
If I'm being completely honest, this was after Alex was killed, I lost a lot of sense of self-preservation, and I started doing stuff that was not going to keep me around long, and I got kids. Um, and some of my comrades had a very stern talking to me. Um, and then Cam Gordon from the Green Party happened to also reach out at roughly the same time. And then I spoke to my comrades and I said, "How about I do this?" And they said, "Go nuts." So that's
No, that's good. I want to
there's
get
a
Cam on the program too sometime. So
yeah. Oh, sure, he's great.
he knows
There,
everything that's
there's a
going on. He
fight.
knows everything that's going on. So then he can tell me.
Yeah, yeah. There is a fight to be fought, and it pains me to not be fighting it, but I mean, first of all, this is a really good opportunity to show the world how there was a revolution here in the Twin Cities, in Minnesota generally, and I mean throughout the country this winter, especially from the mutual aid that got set up. Not only the direct action, the wonderful work that they're doing, but the mutual aid that's set up. I mean, there's still stores, there's still restaurants in the Twin Cities that don't take money anymore.
Yep.
They just run on donations.
Yep.
And all the mutual aid showed that we have alternative structures, that people are building alternative structures to the corporate duopoly, the massive neoliberal consensus, that we don't need these billionaires telling us what to do. And this campaign is a way for me to remind more and more people of that is already happening in a large way. And shit, if I'm elected, then the governor will be able to help build that alongside the people that are already building it. Yeah.
Jane, you have anything to add to that or anything to say?
I was literally recruited by Cam Gordon. And at first I said no. And then I said yes. But that same, like one day before Cam contacted me, my own dad and a couple of the nuns separately all said, "Why don't you run for office?" And then Cam contacted me. So that's how I got here.
Yeah, I ran I'm not a big Amy Klobuchar fan. Let's put it that way.
I hear that a lot.
I don't know if you've heard anybody say that. Apparently, I don't know. She somehow got an endorsement, whatever, but I guess they hadn't heard of the other guy, but anyway, it doesn't matter. But I ran a write-in campaign against Amy the last time. I got 11 votes officially. I got more than that because I did my own assessment, but I definitely got more than 11, but 11 were officially counted for me. I did fill out the forms to have my write-ins officially counted. And there were actually significant numbers of write-in votes when I looked through the other ones too, including right-wing parties I wasn't even really familiar with. Yeah. So that's another thing to keep our eyes on. But how are we? I think to kind of contradict Steve's thing, I wrote a list, and I don't have it in front of me right now, unfortunately, of like 9 reasons or 9 functions of running a campaign for office within a bourgeois electoral system. And I of course, winning is one of those reasons. But there was many other reasons that were in that list, including, recruiting to an organization, or using it as a platform to get out your ideas, or just making it, I don't even know if I included, this might be a new one, making it difficult for the other candidate to win. I mean, that's all. That's like, it's almost a whole nother thing. And so I just kind of was thinking, how are we going to make this very difficult for Amy Klobuchar? I think that's basically, I mean, I don't know. That's got to be a good part of it, because I don't think anybody wants this, anointing of,
Right.
Amy Klobuchar is the next person in the line of the monarchy or whatever we have in
Right.
now. So how are we going to make it hard for Amy Klobuchar? And like, how are you envisioning this this campaign differently than campaigns that Amy Klobuchar will be running?
Sure. So first of all, like in addition to what I said, and to back up what you said, I genuinely see a path to winning.
Okay,
Um,
that's good.
So last night we counted up all the we had to gather 2,000 signatures to get on the ballot. Last night we counted them all up. We had 3,006.
Awesome.
Like it's a
Good work.
pain in the ass to get signatures.
It is.
And we actually still have a few out there to collect before we go turn them in
Mhm.
on Tuesday. There is a broad there's a very broad dissatisfaction with the status quo. And I don't think Amy Klobuchar understands that.
Right.
I think if she were here this winter, she would understand that her support for ICE is incredibly unpopular and immoral. And her funding of the genocide in Gaza and and the support of the American war machine is incredibly unpopular and again immoral. Like she is a bona fide war criminal. Um, and I think more and more people see that. So something that's going to make it hard for her to win is her own politics. It's very clear that her, and not just her, it's the entire Democratic Party and the Republican Party too. They're just so divorced from the everyday realities of Americans um, that they have an uphill battle. I've been going around the state already to where people are yelling at their city councils about data centers, and that issue that specific issue cuts across the political spectrum. And the fact that I mean we've our campaign signs and stuff say pro water, anti ice, and the pro water part covers data centers, and nobody wants them. And the fact that she's pro data center will lose her a lot of support in a lot of places. And yeah, the fact that we're out there meeting people where they're at, that gets us former Trump voters because they know that the status quo is wrecked. And they voted for a goofball thinking he would mix it up and change stuff. And I mean, but Democrats do the same thing. And many of them don't even realize how messed up the system is, but they keep voting for bad folks because they're too scared to do anything else. But that has changed in a large way. And I don't know if that gets us across. I don't know if that gets me and Jane into the governor's mansion. And we have both agreed that we are both but going to move in there. But that alone, I think, it makes it very hard for Amy Klobuchar, and it makes it very easy for us because we don't. We don't take any corporate money, so we're not full of shit. Like we are just.
You've never given any standing ovations to Netanyahu.
No, yeah,
Never.
We got to get better video of that. We need
Yeah,
we need a commercial that shows all like 52 times she stood up to give standing ovations to Netanyahu. Because I have a picture, I have some pictures of it, but it's like very like you don't get a good view. But we should get there's got to be video of her like giving all those standing ovations because that's just.
But
everybody I've told that to is immediately like sickened by it. Like they don't even know about it, to be honest.
The people of Minnesota saw that even with a Democratic trifecta, just like we're seeing in New Jersey now, they're still getting tear gassed by the police. There's still a concentration camp in our city. And so they're seeing through the corporate propaganda that backs up both parties. Jane, now you talk, if you want.
Well, I'm thinking, obviously, I concur. And the thing that I've noticed going and collecting these signatures is that when I tell them pro-water, anti-ice, people don't really talk about the ice part because I think people are afraid still. They're afraid to even bring it up. But the water part, I've talked to people about pipelines, the data centers. I mean, we have 73 already in Minnesota, and the whole nation of China has about 300. What are they doing?
Right.
Rich men are making money off of our resources.
Yep.
And I've been telling people we got to keep our water in Minnesota. And I've been talking to people about groundwater and aquifers that no longer exist in many other major cities. Yep. And I think my vision is, obviously a lot of the key values of the Green Party. We got this grassroots democracy going on. We are about social justice. But I think ecological wisdom is something that everyone thinks that the Green Party is about. And I haven't promoted it too much yet, Stephen, but I like the notion of Minnesota being on the cutting edge of, we want a moratorium on these so-called data centers anyway, but then to actually tax the rich. We already bitch about high taxes in this state, so be it. Tax the people who aren't paying, and then put our money into regenerative farming and put our money into, we could be the biggest ecotourism state in the world. It's so gorgeous here, and we have so many different ecosystems in our state. We've got it all here, and we don't utilize it in a way. We've still, the whole time we've existed as a white person state, we have used it as resources instead of as a place that we have to steward. And it is an existential problem. And I think some people, especially young people in your guys' age zone, realize that we're in an existential problem situation.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I was definitely, definitely feeling like you, Steve. Definitely had some significant periods of not doing well, let's say. And it's,
we can't
tough.
afford to keep kicking the can down the road.
I know, exactly. We've got to do, we've got to do something.
Kids.
Yeah. I mean, and Minneapolis should be,
this.
Minnesota should be this, this shining example, but I mean, Minneapolis, I want to see by the time I die, I want Minneapolis I want it to feel like you're in the country or in nature, while you're in Minneapolis. I want it to feel like you're not even in a city, but you're in a city, and it's one of the awesomest cities ever.
And
I think we can do that.
We're already so close to that.
We're close.
So Minnesota has, and the Twin Cities especially, but we already have so many wonderful environmental programs, and our parks are just glorious. The last 2 weeks I've been biking all over, getting signatures and everything in my cargo bike, and we've got so many greenways all over the place. It's wonderful. I can get all the way to Jane's house without hitting a regular street for the most part. And we just need more of that.
Yep.
There's so many good things we just need to do more of, and if we get the billionaires out of the way, easy.
Yep. I agree. I like to hear that. So that is a good slogan. I like the pro water, anti ice. Is that what it is?
Right? Yes.
It's a good one. So how did you guys come up with that one, or when did that come about, and where do we get the signs, and when are they going to be available?
We were speaking to my daughter, and she actually threw that out there when we were talking, and she designed us a very nice logo, and we'll have some signage and stickers coming right up.
Yeah.
You're doing the right thing. I mean, I think that's the all criticism of the Green Party, that it's not clear, that it has that environmental piece, and that that obviously people associate it with that, but it's not either, maybe not connecting that across the way to the economic piece, or against the fascism or the anti-war and stuff like that. So I think that really ties up the connections there and all that stuff pretty nicely. So I think that's good. Are there actually signs yet, or when will there be signs? Because you can put me down for one.
We'll put you down for one.
Okay, yeah.
We haven't, and we wanted to wait till after the signature gathering to start printing stuff up.
So do you have to go present your signatures to the powers that be then, or how does that?
Tuesday we're heading to the Secretary of State.
Fantastic. Yeah, I mentioned before you were at least around a little bit at the beginning of the Cornell West thing that I was working on in the last presidential election, and I still got the thing from the Secretary of State's office on the wall there. We eventually did get this. I wasn't sure if we were going to get all of our different signatures that we needed, but we got we got significantly more signatures than
Yeah.
we needed. In fact, I think we got more signatures than he actually got votes in the election. But I mean, it shows that people
Makes sense.
are serious about that. People should have a right to run
Yeah.
in these elections. And at some point, I mean, you know, people do start to say, like, I'm not going to keep voting for this person that's terrible. So I think just highlighting these areas where there's just like lines that people
Yeah.
would not cross if they knew they were that they were there, like making those,
You know,
highlighting those.
and there's so many people who just don't vote,
Right.
and I can't blame them.
Right.
Like when your options are like
Yep.
a centrist Democrat or a right wing ghoul that are both funded by billionaires and both vote for wars and everything, and neither of whom are actually helping your bottom line, neither of whom are helping you and your family. Like, yeah, like that's not inspiring. But I mean, we saw in 2020 Bernie Sanders campaign, he was the most popular candidate like across the
Ever.
country because yeah, right, because and they of course the Democrats had to get him out of the way because he would have won in a landslide. And
That's
I
right.
think that that's another key part of a potential green socialist victory is people are seeing through that, and we'll get all those votes that are people who just don't show up for either major party.
Well, there's a lot of new voters, too, like a lot
Yep.
of young people, and some of them aren't even jaded yet, if you can believe that. I think there's
Yeah.
even a few out there. And
Must be nice.
I know, right? They're just starting to realize all the messed up stuff and wanting to
Yeah.
like stop it. And so I think signing up new voters, like especially young people, is also like a super key to, like, if
Yeah.
you want to actually win and you're going to win, and winning is getting all those new people, because there's a lot you can sign up, and they actually, I mean, they also put a lot of they also sometimes put a lot of stake in voting because they haven't gotten so jaded too. So they also
Yeah.
might actually go out and vote. So that's another nice thing.
Mhm.
I mean, even the people that say they're going to vote are, sometimes they're a little jaded, and I'm not sure if they actually get out there to, because
Yeah.
I've done a few of those on election day, where you go out and you're trying to make people, get out to make sure they're getting out to the polls, and you're like, well, did you go yet? And they're like, oh no, I'm definitely going to go later though, like in a little bit for sure. And you're like, okay. So it's it's a struggle, and organizing, it's like a, pounding the pavement thing. Well, I really appreciate the chance to speak with you guys. Are there other things that you want to share? Do you want to tell folks how they can find you guys, how they can get involved if they want to get involved in the campaign, that kind of stuff?
Sure. Let me make sure I get the
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Steve for mngov.info is
Awesome.
our website right now.
Okay.
We're working on a more permanent one, but
Sure.
this is the
The process.
process. I'll put it in the chat just so you have it.
Yep.
But yeah, people can. Oh, I've also got a link tree slash Steve for MN, something like that. And with links there, and you can sign up to volunteer, you can donate, that sort of thing. Yeah, that's it right now. Is that, I guess that's the call to action right now. Like,
Right. Get
let us know
involved.
if you want to help, and we'll put you to work, and it'll be good, honest work. And that's what I tell people when I'm governor. Like, there's so much work that needs doing, and we're gonna get to work, and we're gonna pay folks. We're gonna protect folks. We're gonna protect the environment, and we're gonna. I mean, yeah. Anyway. And
Anything else?
that all that together adds up to an economy that actually works for people, right?
Yeah.
When
Right.
more people have jobs, more people have money to spend, more people spend money in small businesses. We definitely we promote universal basic income, which makes it a lot easier for people to start a small business because they've got a little bit of extra cushion there, and universal health care, which means that when you're starting a small business, you don't have to worry about whether or not your employees have health care because you know that they have it.
Right.
And you don't have and you're also not tied to a soul-sucking job just because
Right.
you get insurance benefits. Like, these are things that are societal level issues, like healthcare. We all need to be healthy as
Mm-hmm.
healthy as we can. Um, Being able-bodied is a very temporary status. We're usually most of your life you're not. You're either young and little, or like you get older, and I mean I'm 42 and stuff starts breaking.
Yeah.
or you get sick or hurt, right? And so and just pushing that off to private healthcare, which just makes it hard, which is more and more expensive and harder for them to get anything covered. That is just bad news for everybody because the more people get sick, more people get sick. Anyway, but that's all those things add up to an economy that actually works for us. We won't even need to be do like huge wild things with the economy, but just put people to work and give people the money they need. Not even tons, but it will be enough, and then money starts to flow. It's kind of it's the opposite of trickle down. It's a rising tide,
Yep.
right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
I'd like to say one last thing about tying in our anti-ice thing from
Yeah.
Minnesota as a state was built off of money that came from the slavery. The people that came up to Fort Snelling all owned slaves. The people that created many of our cities all owned slaves. Another one of our big things with the Green Party is reparations
Yep.
and land back, honoring treaties. And those are very important to me. And I think it resonates with many people in Minnesota. And we're going to try to work toward somehow to instate reparations. The city of St. Paul is getting close. And I think with the help of people who have been working on that for a while, we can do something good statewide with that. And I personally am an animal rights activist. It's not one of our 10 key values, though I think it should be, because I think a change in factory farming, which is something that sucks water, creates pollution, is violent, it goes against everything that our Green Party stands for.
Yep.
And that's another thing. Farmers in Minnesota are not happy right now.
Nope.
They're not getting what they need to even do the bare minimum.
Right.
And it's going to impact everyone. And I think Minnesota is ripe to be a place where we can promote regenerative farming to a lot of people. We already have programs for first generation farmers or people who are immigrants who want to come and be farmers in Minnesota. So I would like to build upon that. And I think that's very attractive to a lot of voters as well.
Yeah, I was just gonna you mentioned the factory farming piece. I was just gonna read the key issues here. The Steve for mngov.info: abolishing ICE, sanctuary state, ban hyperscale data centers, truth and reconciliation, meaning we need to know who was complicit in Operation Metro Surge, green jobs, justice for all, end factory farming, end food waste. And then it has a piece on fraud. And the thing that I think is interesting, or the thing that I was noticing recently that I think connects to the fraud piece is, I don't know if you probably saw that story about MPD getting paid all that overtime. But then when they got calls about ICE like beating up our neighbors or dragging people out of their houses hundreds of miles from any border and that have nothing to do with immigration whatsoever, they didn't even respond to those calls while they were getting paid their overtime pay.
Yeah.
They didn't actually even respond to the calls while they were getting that pay. So if there's a fraud that we want to start looking into, that's the kind of fraud that I think is definitely definitely something that we need to take a look at.
I will say that they did respond the day that Renee was murdered.
Okay.
And I got there when ICE had set up a perimeter, and then I was there when the MPD took over the perimeter and let ICE leave and didn't arrest ICE. And you know what that is? That's called being an accessory after the fact.
Yep.
Yeah.
No, it's true.
Do they I mean, I'm not a Law and Order guy, but they purport to be, right? Like
they let them take the evidence, not secure it, drive it away, just down the freeway and everything, all documented. So no, absolutely. And they need to be held accountable for that. And we're gonna do that one way or another. And I'd like to do it this way.
I like to say that the powers that be, I invite the powers that be to start a vigorous and thorough Truth and Reconciliation Commission now. And if they don't, when I'm inaugurated, mine will be rigorous and ruthless, as we find out who is complicit and how complicit they are and what we have to do to get justice. Anyway,
No, I think we leave it there. That's right on point. I really appreciate the time, and I really appreciate. No, go ahead.
one more thing. It's Pride Month as of today, and our trans siblings are getting murdered every week across the country, and Black people are getting lynched. We keep us safe. The people of Minnesota stood up and they protected their neighbors, and we protect our neighbors. And I invite anybody, and it's not perfect here, but it's much better than in many other places. So I invite anybody to come here and we will keep you safe as much as we can. It is Pride Month. Stonewall was an uprising, it was a riot, it wasn't a protest. Anyway,
Thank you, Steve.
Good point,
all
Steve.
power to the people.
Solidarity. And take care of yourselves.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes. I think that's good. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
You guys have a good rest of your day and enjoy the cooler. Well, I guess it's going to get up to 79 at some point, but enjoy the day anyway.
Yeah, you too. Take it
Thank
easy.
you, sir.
Take care.
Thank you.
Hey, and Steve, give me a call sometime if you ever need anything. Just give me a call.
Right
Or
on,
if you're
brother.
over, if you're over this way in South Minneapolis.
Cool.
Take care.
Take
Bye-bye.
it easy. Bye.
And that's our special interview. Thanks for listening. Solidarity.
This has been a Socialist News and Views special interview.